The bright afternoon sun streamed through the windows of the North American Space Defense Force headquarters as Commander Lisa Martinez stared at the screen in disbelief. After years of scanning the skies, humanity finally had its answer. They were not alone. "Play it again," she ordered, her voice steady despite the racing of her heart. The technician nodded and replayed the transmission. The strange symbols danced across the screen before transforming into English text. "Greetings, people of Earth. We are the Galactic Concordat. We come in peace and wish to welcome you to the galactic community." Commander Martinez had been preparing for this moment her entire career, but nothing could truly prepare anyone for first contact. She picked up the phone and dialed the one number she hoped she would never have to use. "Admiral Wright. It's Martinez. They're here." Within 3 hours, the headquarters transformed into a buzzing command center. Military personnel from across the globe, gathered as 5 distinct alien vessels, took position just beyond the moon's orbit. Each ship displayed markedly different designs, suggesting they belonged to separate species. The transmission identifies 5 races, explained Intelligence Officer Peter Lewis, pointing to the main screen. They call themselves the Vexari, Cranthi, Orlan, Neph, and Draxus. Together they form this galactic concordat. Admiral Jack Wright, a tall man with gray hair and eyes that had seen too many wars on Earth, studied the alien ships carefully. "They're keeping their distance. Smart move." "Sir, they're requesting a face-to-face meeting," said Officer Lewis. "They want to establish diplomatic relations." The Admiral's eyes narrowed. "Just like that. They show up unannounced and expect us to roll out the welcome mat." Commander Martinez understood his suspicion. In the history of Earth, stronger civilizations rarely approached weaker ones with pure intentions. "We should agree to the meeting, but insist on neutral territory. Perhaps a space station in Earth orbit." Admiral Wright nodded slowly. "I want our best people on this, Martinez. You'll lead the diplomatic team. Show nothing but respect, but give away nothing about our defenses." "Yes, sir." Later that night, Officer Lewis rushed into Martinez's office without knocking. His face was pale, and he clutched a tablet in his hand. "Commander, I've been monitoring communications between the alien vessels. Our new deep space arrays picked up encrypted transmissions." Martinez looked up sharply. "I thought they didn't know we could detect their communications." "They don't. And these weren't meant for us." Lewis placed the tablet on the desk. "My team has been working on decoding them. We've only translated fragments, but what we found isn't good." On the screen were partial translations that made Martinez's blood run cold. "Inferior technology. Easily overwhelmed. Rich resources. Strategic position. They're assessing us for conquest," she said quietly. Lewis nodded. "It appears the diplomatic meeting might be reconnaissance." Martinez stood and walked to the window, looking up at the night sky, where the alien ships waited, invisible to the naked eye, but very much present. "We'll proceed with the meeting," she decided, "but we'll be prepared. Contact Engineer Carter at the lunar facility. Tell him to accelerate the Aegis Protocol, and get me everything we have on each of these alien species vessels." "Yes, Commander." As Lewis left, Martinez continued staring at the stars. Humanity had dreamed of this moment for centuries, contact with intelligent alien life. But now that it had arrived, it came with the oldest story in history, the strong seeking to dominate the weak. "Not this time," Martinez whispered. "They have no idea what they're walking into." The next morning, as the sun rose over the headquarters, Earth sent its response to the Galactic Concordat. "We welcome peaceful contact and agree to a diplomatic summit in neutral space. We look forward to learning about our galactic neighbors." What the message didn't say was that Earth had its own secrets, secrets that had been kept even from most of humanity. And if these aliens were looking for an easy conquest, they had picked the wrong planet. 2 weeks after first contact, a large space station hung in Earth's orbit, built specifically for the diplomatic summit. The circular structure gleamed in the sunlight, rotating slowly to create artificial gravity. Commander Lisa Martinez stood at the large viewing window, watching as 5 distinct ships approached the station. Each alien vessel looked completely different from the others. One was sleek and nearly invisible against the stars. Another was covered in what appeared to be weapon ports. The third glowed with a strange blue field. The fourth moved with impossible speed. The last was simply enormous, dwarfing all others. "They're certainly not hiding their military capabilities," said engineer Samuel Carter, who stood beside Martinez. "It's almost like they want to intimidate us." Martinez nodded. "That's exactly what they want. They're flexing their muscles." The first alien to arrive was Ambassador Zorn of the Vexeri. His skin was pale blue with darker blue patterns, and his 4 eyes blinked independently of each other. He moved with a fluid grace as he approached the human delegation. "Commander Martinez," he said in a voice that seemed too deep for his slender frame. "Our stealth technology allows our ships to become completely invisible to sensors. We could be orbiting your planet right now, and you would never know." He smiled, showing pointed teeth. "Not that we would do such a thing, of course." Next came Ambassador Krell of the Kranthi, a bulky creature with thick armored plates covering his body. "My people have perfected weapons that could disable all electronics on your planet with a single pulse," he boasted. "Our targeting systems can hit a moving object from half a solar system away." Ambassador Telos of the Orlan floated into the room, her body semi-transparent and surrounded by a faint blue glow. "The Orlan ships are protected by shields that have never been penetrated," she said. "We have survived direct hits from asteroids without a scratch." The Nef ambassador, Nira, entered next. She looked almost human except for her golden skin and 6-fingered hands. "While my friends focus on weapons and defense, the Nef have mastered speed. Our ships can cross your entire solar system in minutes. There is nowhere we cannot reach." Last came Ambassador Drex of the Draxus, towering over everyone at nearly 8 feet tall. His voice rumbled like distant thunder. "The Draxus dreadnought carries enough firepower to crack a planet's crust. We have brought peace to many worlds by simply showing them our great ship." Martinez listened to each boast with a polite smile. Behind her, Admiral Wright and Officer Lewis exchanged glances. The aliens weren't even trying to hide their threats. "Earth welcomes the Galactic Concordat," Martinez said when all 5 had finished. "We are honored by your visit and hope to learn from your advanced civilizations." As the diplomatic talks continued, Engineer Carter noticed something strange. "Commander," he whispered during a break, "they're scanning us. All 5 ships are directing signals at Earth's defense systems." Martinez kept her face neutral. "Expected. Keep our active defenses offline. Let them see only what we want them to see." The 5 ambassadors spent hours describing their societies, technologies, and galactic achievements. Yet they asked few questions about Earth, focusing instead on its resources, population centers, and military capabilities. "Your species has achieved much in its short time among the stars," said Ambassador Zorn. "But surely you must feel vulnerable, being so new to space travel." "We manage," replied Martinez simply. That evening, after the aliens had returned to their ships, the human team gathered in a secure room. "They're not even being subtle," said Admiral Wright. "They're sizing us up for invasion." Officer Lewis nodded. "Our decryption team has translated more of their communications. They've already divided Earth into territories. Each species wants different resources." "What's our next move?" asked Carter. Martinez looked at each person in the room. "We continue the talks. We appear cooperative but cautious. Meanwhile, we accelerate all preparations. The Valiant needs to be ready." "The Valiant is still experimental," warned Carter. "We haven't tested all systems in combat conditions." "We may not have a choice," Martinez said. "These 5 aliens came here to boast about their battleships. Soon enough, they'll want to see ours." What the aliens didn't know was that humanity had been preparing for this day for decades. Earth had its own surprises waiting. Officer Peter Lewis hunched over his computer terminal, his eyes red from lack of sleep. Next to him, analyst Nicole Garcia sorted through thousands of alien communication signals. They had been working for 3 days straight in the secure underground facility beneath the North American Space Defense Force headquarters. "I found something," Nicole said suddenly, her voice tense with excitement. "Look at this transmission between the Vexari and Kranthi ships." Lewis leaned over and studied the decoded message. His face grew pale as he read. "They've been planning this for years. They discovered Earth 7 years ago and have been watching us." Nicole nodded grimly. "According to this, they've already divided up our solar system. The Vexari want our water. The Kranthi are after our metals. The Orlan want to study our biodiversity. The Neph want to use humans as labor, and the Draxis." She paused. "The Draxis just want to prove their military might. We need to get this to Admiral Wright immediately," Lewis said, copying the files to a secure drive. Meanwhile, on the diplomatic station, Commander Martinez continued the talks with the 5 alien ambassadors. Their questions grew more direct with each meeting. "Your orbital defenses seem quite minimal," observed Ambassador Zorn. "How do you protect yourselves from asteroid impacts?" "We have methods," Martins replied vaguely. Ambassador Krell leaned forward. "We've observed no significant weapons platforms. Surely you must have some way to defend your planet." Before Martinez could answer, Engineer Carter entered the room and whispered something in her ear. She excused herself and followed him to a private chamber. "They've planted surveillance devices throughout the station," Carter said urgently. "They're listening to everything, scanning all our systems. One of their devices tried to hack into our network." Martinez's eyes hardened. "Did it succeed?" "No. It hit our dummy network, the one we set up for exactly this purpose. But they're getting bolder." Back on Earth, Admiral Wright reviewed the decoded messages with growing concern. The President of the United States and other world leaders joined via secure video link. "The evidence is clear," Wright said. "This isn't a diplomatic mission. It's reconnaissance before an invasion." The President's face was grim. "How much time do we have?" "Days, possibly hours," Wright replied. "They're getting impatient. Their transmissions show they're confused by our lack of visible defenses. They expected us to have more conventional weapons. They think we're defenseless." The British Prime Minister noted. "That may be our only advantage," said Wright. "They're overconfident. I recommend we activate the Aegis Protocol immediately and bring the Valiant online." The President nodded. "Authorized. God help us all." On the lunar far side, hidden from both Earth and the alien vessels, a massive underground facility sprang to life. Lights flickered on in chambers that had been built in secret over decades. Workers moved with renewed urgency as the countdown began. Back on the diplomatic station, Martins noticed a shift in the aliens' behavior. They were less interested in talking and more interested in showing off their military might. "Perhaps you would like to see our vessels up close," suggested Ambassador Drex, "to truly appreciate the technology of the Galactic Concordat." "That would be educational," Martins replied carefully. As they boarded a shuttle to visit the Draxis dreadnought, Martinez received an encrypted message from Admiral Wright. "AEGIs active. Valiant online. 48 HFYs." Ambassador Drex led Martinez and Carter through his enormous battleship. The interior was filled with weapons systems and strange technology. Drax's soldiers, each heavily armed, watched the humans with obvious contempt. "This cannon can melt through planetary crust," Drex explained with pride, showing them a massive energy weapon. "We have used it to pacify 3 worlds that resisted joining the Concordat." Martinez nodded politely, but her mind was racing. The aliens weren't even pretending anymore. This was a thinly veiled threat. When they returned to the station, Martinez found the other ambassadors waiting with unusual news. "We have consulted and reached a decision," announced Ambassador Zorn. "The time for talk is over." Tomorrow we will show you the true power of our battleships." As the meeting ended, Martinez met Carter's eyes. They both knew what was coming. The aliens had decided Earth was ripe for conquest. They had no idea what humanity had been hiding all along. The next morning, the 5 ambassadors arrived at the diplomatic station with an air of finality. No pleasantries were exchanged as they gathered in the main conference chamber. The room's atmosphere was tense, like the calm before a storm. Ambassador Zorn of the Vexari spoke first. "We have been patient with your primitive species," he said, his 4 eyes blinking slowly. "But now the time for talk is over. The Galactic Concordat requires your world's resources." Ambassador Krell nodded, his armored plates clicking together. "Your planet will be divided among our 5 species according to our needs. Resistance is futile and would only lead to unnecessary destruction." Commander Martinez kept her face neutral, though anger burned inside her. "You speak of dividing our home as if it were uninhabited. Earth is the home of billions of people. People who will serve a greater purpose under our guidance," said Ambassador Nera of the Nef, her golden skin shimmering under the lights. "Those who cooperate will be treated well." Ambassador Telos of the Orlan floated closer. "To demonstrate our power, we have prepared a visual representation of our capabilities." A holographic display appeared in the center of the room. It showed recordings of previous planets being conquered by the Concordat's forces, cities burning, defenses crumbling, populations surrendering. "This was the Polarian civilization," explained Ambassador Drex, his deep voice filled with pride. "They believed their orbital platforms would protect them." The display showed massive Drax's ships firing on a planet's defense systems, destroying them in seconds. "The Meridians trusted in their ground-based weapons," added Ambassador Krell. The hologram shifted to show Kranthi ships systematically targeting and destroying missile installations. Each ambassador took turns describing how their particular battleships would easily overcome Earth's defenses. The message was clear: surrender or face annihilation. "You have 48 hours to inform your world leaders of our terms," Ambassador Zorn concluded. "At that time, we will expect your complete surrender. Any resistance will be met with overwhelming force." As the ambassadors left, Martinez turned to Engineer Carter. "Get back to Earth immediately. Tell Admiral Wright what's happened. I'll stay here and try to buy us more time." Carter nodded grimly and departed for the shuttle bay. On Earth, panic spread as news of the ultimatum leaked to the public. Social media exploded with rumors, news channels broadcast emergency alerts, and people began stockpiling supplies or fleeing cities. In the underground command center, Admiral Wright convened an emergency meeting of the Global Defense Council. Military leaders from major nations gathered around a large table, their faces showing varying degrees of fear and resolve. "The aliens have positioned their battleships in strategic locations around Earth," reported General Susan Lee, pointing to a holographic display of Earth's orbit. "They can target our major cities and military installations simultaneously. Our conventional weapons would be useless against their technology," added Colonel Alan Foster. "Based on our scans, they outmatch us in every category." The room fell silent as the reality of their situation sank in. Admiral Wright stood up slowly. "Not in every category," he said. He pressed a button, and the room's display changed to show a hangar deep beneath the lunar surface. Inside was a massive ship unlike anything Earth had publicly built before. "Ladies and gentlemen, this is the UNS Valiant," Wright announced. "For 30 years, we've been secretly developing technology based on crashed alien ships. The Valiant represents the pinnacle of that research, a warship combining human innovation with reverse-engineered alien tech." The council members murmured in shock and disbelief. "Why weren't we informed?" demanded the Russian representative. "Compartmentalized security," Wright replied. "Even most of our own military didn't know. We kept it secret because we knew this day would come." Military strategist William Hayes stood up. "The aliens are overconfident. They think we're defenseless, which gives us the element of surprise. But we'll only get one chance. As the council debated strategy, Commander Martinez sent a message from the diplomatic station. Aliens growing impatient. Timetable accelerated. They're preparing first strike in 24 hours, not 48. Admiral Wright's face hardened. Then we have no choice. Launch the Valiant. It's time to show these aliens that they picked the wrong planet to invade. As night fell over Earth, the 5 alien battleships moved into attack positions, unaware that humanity's secret weapon was about to emerge from its lunar hiding place. The 5 alien battleships moved into position around Earth like predators surrounding their prey. Each took a strategic position. The Vexeri ship hovered invisible above North America. The Kranthi vessel positioned itself over Asia. The Orlan ship floated above Europe. The Nef's fast cruiser circled the planet rapidly, and the massive Draxus dreadnought loomed over the Pacific Ocean like a dark moon. On the diplomatic station, Commander Lisa Martinez watched the alien vessels through the observation window. She had refused to return to Earth despite the danger, insisting that keeping diplomatic channels open might buy precious time. "They're activating weapons systems," reported the station's sensor officer. "Energy readings are off the charts." Martinez nodded calmly. "Send the coded message to Earth. Birds in nest." Down on Earth, in cities across the globe, people looked up at the sky with fear. Many had fled to underground shelters. Others stayed in their homes, glued to news reports. Military forces worldwide were on highest alert, though most soldiers knew their conventional weapons would be useless against the alien technology. In the underground command center, Admiral Wright received Martinez's message. "They're in position," he told the assembled leaders. "Time to execute Operation Silent Shield." On the far side of the moon, hidden from both Earth and the alien vessels, a massive hangar door slowly opened in the lunar surface. Inside the cavernous space, the UNS Valiant powered up its systems. The ship was unlike any vessel humanity had publicly built. Sleek and powerful, with technology decades ahead of anything seen on Earth. Engineer Samuel Carter rushed through the ship's corridors, checking final systems. He had been shuttled directly from the diplomatic station to the lunar base to help prepare the Valiant for battle. "All systems operational," he reported to the bridge. "Quantum shields at full capacity. Adaptive weapons online. Gravitational propulsion ready." In the captain's chair sat Captain Olivia Scott, one of Earth's most decorated naval officers who had been secretly training for this mission for years. "Launch sequence initiated," she announced. "May God help us all." The UNS Valiant rose smoothly from its lunar hiding place. It was massive, nearly as large as the Draxus dreadnought, yet moved with incredible grace. Its hull gleamed with a material that seemed to absorb and reflect light simultaneously. On the bridge, military strategist William Hayes monitored the alien ships. "They haven't detected us yet. The stealth systems are working." "Set course for the Vexeri vessel," ordered Captain Scott. "They're the scouts. Taking them out first will disrupt their coordination." As the Valiant accelerated silently toward Earth, on the diplomatic station, Ambassador Zorn of the Vexeri approached Commander Martinez with a smug expression. "Your time is up," he announced. "We have received no surrender terms from your leaders. Therefore, we will begin with a demonstration." He activated a communication device, and a holographic image of the Vexeri battleship appeared. "Our vessel is currently invisible above your North American continent. We will now disable your communications and power infrastructure as a first step. After that, we'll begin targeting military installations." Martinez remained calm. "Before you begin, perhaps you should check on your battleship." Zorn's 4 eyes blinked in confusion. "What do you mean?" At that exact moment, the UNS Valiant dropped its stealth shielding and appeared directly in front of the Vexeri battleship. The alien vessel, despite being invisible to conventional sensors, was clearly visible to the Valiant's advanced detection systems. On the diplomatic station, the other ambassadors rushed to the observation window as alarms sounded throughout their ships. "What is that?" demanded Ambassador Krell. "Where did that ship come from?" Ambassador Drex's eyes widened in shock. "That vessel. It's the size of our dreadnought. On the bridge of the Valiant, Captain Scott gave the order: target the Vexeri ship's propulsion and weapon systems. Precision strikes only. The Valiant fired, its advanced weapons cutting through the Vexeri's defenses with ease. Within moments, the alien ship became visible as its stealth systems failed. It drifted powerless, disabled but not destroyed. Ambassador Zorn stared at the holographic display in disbelief as his mighty battleship was neutralized in seconds. Commander Martinez allowed herself a small smile. It seems we humans had a few surprises of our own. Perhaps we should discuss new terms for our relationship with the Galactic Concordat. Chaos erupted on the diplomatic station as the alien ambassadors watched their carefully laid plans fall apart. The Vexeri battleship, once invisible and seemingly invincible, now drifted powerless in space, disabled by the sudden appearance of the UNS Valiant. Impossible. Ambassador Krell of the Kranthy roared, his armored plates rattling with rage. This is trickery. Ambassador Drex of the Draxus grabbed Commander Martinez by the arm. Where did that ship come from? Your planet does not have that technology. Martinez pulled her arm free and stood tall. You assumed we would show you all our capabilities. You were wrong. On the bridge of the UNS Valiant, Captain Olivia Scott received reports of the Vexeri ship's status. Propulsion and weapons disabled. Life support still operational. They pose no further threat. The other alien vessels are responding, reported William Hayes, watching the tactical display. The Kranthy ship is moving to attack position. They're charging weapons. Captain Scott nodded calmly. Exactly as we predicted. Bring us about. Activate quantum shields. The Valiant turned smoothly, facing the approaching Kranthy battleship. The alien vessel fired a barrage of energy weapons, powerful enough to vaporize a small moon. The beams struck the Valiant's shields, which shimmered like liquid metal but held firm. Shields holding at 97%. Reported Engineer Carter from the engineering deck. The adaptive algorithms are already adjusting to their weapon frequency. Return fire, ordered Captain Scott. Target their main weapon arrays. The Valiant fired precise bursts that sliced through the Kranthy ship's armor like it was paper. Secondary explosions rippled across the alien vessel's hull as its weapon systems overloaded and failed. Back on Earth, Admiral Wright and the Global Defense Council watched the battle through secure feeds. The room was silent, faces illuminated by the glow of screens showing the impossible, Earth winning against vastly superior alien forces. The Valiant is everything we hoped for, Wright said quietly. 30 years of secret development, resources diverted from every nation, all for this moment. The Neff ship, known for its incredible speed, suddenly accelerated toward the Valiant, attempting to outmaneuver the human vessel. Neff cruiser approaching at maximum velocity, warned Hayes. They're trying to circle around for a rear attack. Engage gravitational propulsion, ordered Captain Scott. The Valiant's engines glowed with a strange blue light as it matched the Neff ship's speed, then exceeded it. The alien vessel's captain could be seen on the communication screen, his expression changing from confidence to shock as the human ship outpaced his prized cruiser. The Valiant easily overtook the Neff ship, then fired specialized drones that attached to its hull and disabled its engines. The once fastest ship in the Concordat now drifted helplessly. On the diplomatic station, Ambassador Nira of the Neff stared in disbelief at the tactical display. That's not possible. No species has ever matched our speed. Martinez smiled slightly. Perhaps you shouldn't judge a species by its apparent level of technology. The Orlan ship, protected by its supposedly impenetrable shields, moved to engage the Valiant. The blue energy field surrounding the alien vessel intensified as it prepared for battle. Ambassador Tello's translucent form pulsed with anger. Our shields have never been breached. They will hold. Captain Scott studied the Orlan vessel on her screen. Phase shift technology online, she ordered. Prepare for shield penetration. The Valiant fired what appeared to be a small, glowing projectile. Instead of striking the Orlan shields, It passed through them as if they weren't there, then expanded inside the shield bubble. The alien ship's defenses collapsed instantly, leaving it vulnerable. How? Ambassador Talos gasped, watching her ship's shields fail completely. Phase shift technology, Martinez explained. Your shields stop energy in normal space. Our weapons shift partially out of phase, then rematerialize inside your defenses. With 4 alien battleships now disabled, all eyes turned to the massive Draxus dreadnought. It was larger than all the other ships combined, and Ambassador Drex had boasted it could destroy entire planets. This changes nothing, the towering Draxus ambassador growled. Our dreadnought will crush your single ship, and then we will punish your world for this deception. As if on cue, the enormous Draxus vessel began powering up its main planet-killer weapon, a beam capable of cracking a world's crust. The energy readings were off the charts, threatening not just the Valiant but Earth itself. Captain Scott's voice remained steady as she gave her next order. Activate the energy dispersion grid. Prepare to intercept the Draxus weapon. The final confrontation was about to begin. The massive Draxus dreadnought loomed in space like a metal moon, its main weapon now glowing with building energy. The ship's size dwarfed the Valiant, and a sense of dread filled the diplomatic station as everyone watched the standoff. Our planet killer has never failed, Ambassador Drex growled, his massive frame towering over Commander Martinez. Your ship will be dust, and then your planet will feel our wrath. On the Valiant's bridge, the crew worked calmly despite the enormous threat facing them. Captain Scott studied the tactical displays showing the energy buildup in the Draxus weapon. Energy dispersion grid at full power, reported Engineer Carter over the comm. We've never tested it against a weapon of this magnitude, but the simulations show it should work. Should? Asked Hayes, raising an eyebrow. That's the best we can do, Captain Scott said firmly. Hold position. Brace for impact. The Draxus dreadnought fired. A blinding beam of energy, bright as a sun, lanced across space toward the Valiant. On Earth, millions of people could see the flash of light even in daylight. The diplomatic station shook from the energy wave passing nearby. The beam struck the Valiant directly. For a moment, it seemed the human ship would be vaporized. Then something remarkable happened. The energy dispersion grid activated, creating a web of light around the vessel. Instead of destroying the Valiant, the beam's energy was captured, channeled, and redirected outward in a harmless pattern. On the bridge, warning lights flashed as systems strained under the enormous power. Grid holding at 82% capacity, Carter reported, his voice tense. 63%, 47%. Captain Scott gripped her chair. Reroute power from non-essential systems. Hold on. After what seemed like an eternity, the Draxus weapon's beam finally dissipated. The Valiant remained intact, though its energy grid glowed white-hot from the absorbed power. Status report, demanded Captain Scott. Grid at maximum capacity, Carter responded. We've captured enough energy to power New York City for a year. If we don't release it soon, we risk an overload. Then let's put it to good use, Scott said. Target the Draxus dreadnought's main weapon. Return their energy with our compliments. The Valiant's systems hummed as the captured energy was channeled into its own weapons. The ship fired, sending the Draxus' own power back at them in a focused beam. The shot struck the dreadnought's main cannon, causing a chain reaction throughout the massive vessel. Secondary explosions rippled across its hull. In the diplomatic station, Ambassador Drex watched in horror as his invincible dreadnought was crippled by its own energy. Impossible. Nothing can redirect the planet killer's beam. Commander Martinez stepped forward. You underestimated human ingenuity, Ambassador. We've been studying alien technology for decades, improving upon it in ways you never imagined. On Earth, Admiral Wright ordered the planet's conventional defense forces to move in. All units converge on the disabled alien vessels. Secure them immediately. Smaller Earth ships, hidden until now, emerged from stealth positions around the planet. They moved to surround each disabled alien battleship, their weapons trained on key systems. "We've done it," breathed one of the council members. "We've actually beaten them." Admiral Wright shook his head. "The battle is won, but now comes the hard part, the peace." On the Valiant, Captain Scott opened a communication channel to all 5 alien vessels simultaneously. "This is Captain Olivia Scott of the United Nations ship Valiant. Your vessels have been disabled. Your weapons are offline. You are now surrounded by Earth forces. We demand your immediate and unconditional surrender." There was silence for a long moment. Then, one by one, the alien ships signaled their surrender. In the diplomatic station, Commander Martinez addressed the 5 ambassadors. "Your battleships have been defeated. Your invasion has failed. Now let's discuss terms for a very different relationship between Earth and the Galactic Concordat." The ambassadors, once so proud and boastful, stood in stunned silence. They had come expecting an easy conquest of a primitive world. Instead, they had encountered a species that had not only matched their technology, but had improved upon it in secret. Ambassador Zorn of the Vexari was the first to speak. How did you do this?" Martinez smiled. "You'll find that humans are full of surprises, and we're just getting started." 1 week after the battle, the 5 alien commanders stood in the Grand Council chamber aboard the UNS Valiant. Each had been brought from their disabled vessels to face Earth's representatives. Gone was their previous arrogance, replaced by shock and uncertainty. Commander Lisa Martinez entered the chamber, now wearing the uniform of a fleet admiral, a promotion earned in the wake of Earth's victory. Behind her came Admiral Wright, Captain Scott, and representatives from Earth's major nations. "Welcome aboard the Valiant," Admiral Martinez said. "I believe this is a more appropriate setting for our discussions than the diplomatic station." The alien commanders looked around the advanced bridge with new eyes, seeing details they had missed before. The ship's technology wasn't just comparable to theirs. In many ways, it was superior. "You deceived us," accused Commander Jex of the Vexari, who had commanded their now crippled stealth vessel. "No," Martins corrected. "We simply kept our capabilities private, as you intended to do with your true plans for Earth." Admiral Wright stepped forward. "For decades, humanity has recovered and studied crashed alien vessels. The first was a Neff scout ship that landed in the American desert in 1947. The Neff commander's golden skin paled, but we had no record of." "Of course not," Wright continued, "because we kept it secret, just as we kept secret the Orlan ship that crashed in Russia in 1963, the Kranthi vessel recovered from the Pacific in 1979, and the Draxis scout found in Antarctica in 1991. The alien commanders exchanged shocked glances as they realized the truth. "Each time," explained Captain Scott, "we learned more about galactic technology. We improved upon it, adapted it, and created something new, something uniquely human." Engineer Carter brought up a holographic display showing the Valiant systems. Your species each specialized in one area of technology. Vexari in stealth, Kranthi in weapons, Orlan in shields, Neff in propulsion, and Draxis in power generation. Humans took all these concepts and integrated them into a single unified system. The Draxis commander, a mountain of a being named Coda, growled in disbelief. "Why did you not reveal yourselves to the galaxy? Why pretend to be primitive?" Martinez smiled. "Would you have approached us as equals if you had known our true capabilities? Or would you have come with an even larger force to conquer us?" The alien commanders had no answer. "Here are our terms," Martinez continued. "First, Earth will join the galactic community, but as equals, not subjects. Second, all attempted conquests by the Concordat will cease immediately. Third, open trade and cultural exchange will begin between our civilizations." "And if we refuse?" asked the Kranthi commander. Admiral Wright gestured to another holographic display, showing the lunar base where the Valiant had been hidden. The images zoomed out to reveal not one, but 3 additional ships of the same class under construction. "The Valiant is not alone," Wright said simply. The alien commanders conferred briefly. Then the Draxus Commander Coda stepped forward. We accept your terms. The Galactic Concordat recognizes Earth as a sovereign and equal member of the galactic community. Later, as the alien commanders returned to their repaired vessels, Admiral Martinez stood with Captain Scott on the Valiant's observation deck, watching Earth rotate peacefully below. Do you think they'll honor the agreement? Scott asked. They will, Martinez replied. We've earned their respect, maybe even their fear, but more importantly, we've shown them something new. What's that? That different approaches can be stronger together than apart. Each of their species specialized and competed. Humans took the best from each and created something greater than the sum of its parts. Captain Scott nodded. And the Valiant is just the beginning. Yes, agreed Martinez. Now that we don't need to hide our technology anymore, imagine what we'll create next. As the alien ships departed Earth's orbit, they passed by the lunar base where the next generation of human vessels was under construction. The 5 aliens who had once boasted about their battleships now understood a universal truth. Never underestimate a species that appears weak, but has been quietly watching, learning, and preparing. In the vastness of space, word spread quickly about the newcomers to the galactic stage. A species called humans who had turned the technology of conquest into something far more powerful, innovation. And throughout the stars, other civilizations took note, wondering what other surprises Earth might reveal in the coming years. The age of humanity had just begun.